Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to our Monday Marathon series where we collect whatever the charity shop has been donated with regards to electrical stuff and we process it, see what we can save, because the charity shop just aren't interested in trying to save it. Well, they're not qualified. They don't want to risk any issues with electricity. So they would take it all out to the transfer station, to the e-waste crates, and it would all be supposedly recycled, but a lot of it probably doesn't. I plan to get as much of it back into circulation as I can. This week we have one tub of stuff. It looks a bit jumbled. I'm not sure what we've got in here really. I have a Kirby vacuum cleaner and accessories, so that's the biggest item this week. I think they're fairly expensive items, but I'm not sure on their secondary market. So there's some accessories with that as well. And I've also picked up a couple of things to flip, which I try and do every week. So I've got a Bendigo pottery jar here for $5. I reckon I can get about 20 for that, probably 1980s. I've also got a German pottery vase, quite a nice one. I better check with Christine because she does collect the West German pottery. This is probably a bit more modern than that. It's not your typical retro lava glaze and bright reds and oranges. This is a little bit more modern looking, I guess you'd call it. It's a nice example. It's not damaged. They only had $1 on it. I reckon I could get probably 10 to 15 for that if Christine doesn't want it. And the other thing I picked up was a fairly large pewter vase. It's quite heavy, and I do grab pewter stuff when I see it cheap because I plan on melting it down and selling it on eBay, and we'll do videos on that when I finally get to it. I know Graham mentioned that in a recent video. This was only $1. I think it's Selangor pewter. So it's a lead-free pewter, which is the ones I look for. Nice and heavy, good value for $1. Anyway, we'll move these things out of the road and we'll take the vacuum off the bench for now. We'll look at that later. Let's see what's in the tub. Okay, let's go through this. Now we have Christmas lights at the top. Most of you know I don't look at Christmas lights favourably. They're very hard to sell. The cover's broken off that and someone's taped the batteries in. If anything, I might be able to rescue some good batteries. Does it work? No. Either the batteries are flat or it's got a fault. What about the other one? I'd say they've been left on until the batteries have gone flat. So what I'm doing with these, I don't try and salvage the wire for any return on the copper wire. Christmas lights just don't pay enough for me to even save them. I'll check the batteries, but I'll put this in the free barrow I've got at the shop. It's an old wheelbarrow that I put free electrical stuff in. This is certainly safe because it's only battery powered, and someone may well use it even just for the replacement globes, or use the frames and put new globes in. Whatever they want, they can have that for free. I'll just take the batteries out. Okay, this jumble, we have a Sunbeam Cornelius. What is it, a popcorn maker, I'm guessing? It's quite dirty. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a popcorn maker. It would clean up okay, so as long as it works all right, we might be able to sell that. So something to test there. This is is it a mincer? Or a juicer perhaps? Ambiano is a cheap brand. I think it's an Aldi brand. So something goes in there and you push it down. Maybe it's just a mincer. What's it say underneath? It's a frozen treat maker. Well, there you go. I guess it's for like shaved ice. Perhaps you can shove like icy poles in there and turn them into a shaved. I don't know. So I guess we'll see if that works. It looks to be complete. Probably only a very cheap item though anyway. We have a blender jug. I'm not sure what that goes with. We've been getting a few of those lately. Here's a rice cooker. Cambrook Rice Express. Quite grubby, looks an older model. Has the spoon. But the aluminium bowl has been dropped or something. It's got a dent in that side. Yeah, it's a bit, it's not too bad in there. I wonder if I can push that dent out just to make it a bit more presentable. I'm assuming a lid's in here somewhere because that's probably clean enough to sell. Cambrook's a better brand. As long as it tests okay, we'll try and get $5 for it, but I will try and push that dent out of the bowl. And yeah, here's the lid for it in here. So it's probably worth trying to fix up and sell. More Christmas decorations, well, same deal with them. I guess that's the star for on top of your Christmas tree. A light up one that can be free. Alright, we have a little food processor, Black & Decker, off on pulse. It's quite a small one, this one. It looks complete. It's a bit dirty. It's a much older one. There's no sleeves on the pins. So it's possibly 1990s or early 2000s. What did I drop? Oh, that part. So I guess we can give that a quick test. But really not much value in this lot from what I can see. It's all real cheap stuff. This is it's an ice cream maker. Oh, that's probably the tub for it. Maybe it isn't. What's it say on the front? Breville Crazy Scoop. So I'm guessing it's an ice cream maker of some sort. We'll see what else goes with it. So there's a book for something. Oh, that's the rice cooker. I don't think we really need a book for that. So I'm still not sure what this actually is. Alright, here we have a lamp. Of course, we always have a lamp. There's been many comments on why we have so many lamps at our charity shop, and I think, as I think JJ said, lamps are much more than just something to light up a room. They're a fashionable item, and people's tastes change and fashions change, and a lot of lamps just get given away because they're upgraded rather than they've got any problems. This has a timber stand that's actually split, so it's not worth selling. The shade's been squashed. I'm just going to, it's got an unusual LED light in here. Alright, I'm just going to pull it apart. I'll use the cord. The switch is probably okay. But yeah, that will be scrapped out or parted out. That one. Now, is this, oh, maybe this is an ice cream maker. Maybe this is the bowl part of it that you put in the freezer or something. Does it fit in there? Right, I better do some more checking with that, but it's possibly an ice cream maker. They're vacuum bags for, they're for the Kirby that I've got. So what is this blend? Oh, the blender jug goes with this other food processor, I'm guessing. I don't know what this is. That's part of the ice cream maker. I think it's like a churning thingo. A salt lamp. It's just a rock with a globe in it. Now, these always seem to be wet. I don't know if they absorb moisture out of the air. They always seem to be quite messy. I don't know. I've never had much luck selling them. At least it's... Well, it's not low voltage. Oh, it is low voltage. It's got a little power pack here. 5 volts. So, I guess we can see if it works and maybe clean it up a bit. But I've never really had much success having these in the shop without them sort of getting wet. Maybe it's the time of the year. Maybe it's the humidity. Maybe you need to have them on to provide a little bit of heat to dry them out. But we might be able to sell that one if it cleans up okay. Alright, a hairdryer, a Remington. It's had a big sticker on it. It's very rough and scratched and scuffed. So extremely second-hand. Not sure if it's worth trying to sell. I guess we can check it and put $5 on it. And a little hair straightener. A chargeable one. via Sassoon, so that should certainly get $5. And we have a long cord here. What's this for? Because I don't actually have a charger for this. Where does it plug in? Oh yeah, it's a mini USB one, so I should have a charger for that in my box at the shop. The cord can probably just go in a data cable. I'm not sure what that belongs to. It looks like an audio cable. Now we have a whole heap of lights. 100 acrylic bulb lights. Well, they'll be useful. Someone will use those for decorations. It's not necessarily Christmas. Some people like to have lights around their garden or their back veranda. So I can guess we can see if those work. So quite a lot of stuff to test. Just a little cup that probably goes with the ice cream maker maybe. The spoon I think goes with the rice cooker. That's the end of our tub. All right, let's get some things sorted out and we'll do some testing. So let's start checking these batteries that I've just taken out of these Christmas lights. I'm pretty sure they'll be flat, but I like to check them because sometimes something doesn't go because one's flat and the other one's perfectly good, 1.24. So in that case we do get a good battery to reuse somewhere else. 1.2, so they're all a bit low. I look for them to be 1.5 or better. I know sometimes if they're 1.4 they will run a clock for a while or something like that, but I just keep any that are over 1.5. These are all classed as flat, and of course this is testing them with no load, so when they're trying to drive something, quite often the voltage drops away to nothing. They'll go in my bucket for battery recycling. Now, I'm not going to give these Christmas lights away. I've decided that I need to keep these battery compartments. More specifically, the little springs and the tabs, because I have a couple of jobs coming up where the springs are corroded away so badly that I need to replace them. So I'm going to hang on to both these. So that means the rest of it's really not useful. I could probably chop off the first bit of wire. I'm not going to go and... oh, it's hardly worth it. We get a length about 10 inches long. But yeah, I'm not going to pull out every little piece of wire. I'm just going to send those frames out to Ewaste. The globes are probably still fine, and I don't know what they'll do recycling those. I guess they'll get the copper wire and hopefully recycle the plastic somehow. But anyway, they are going to Ewaste. And I guess while we're at it, these lights, I checked them out. I think these are new. I don't think they've been used, or maybe once and put back. They run off a solar panel, but also you can run them off USB from what the little instructions say here. I think they're probably around about $20 or $30 to buy new. They're nicely wrapped up again. I don't know if we want to keep them and use them here. I might ask Christine. Otherwise, I could sell them at the shop for $10. I guess I'd need to test them, but we might try plugging the USB in and see if they all light up. But, you know, they might even look nice around our deck. So I'll decide on those soon. This one is a, what did we say it was? A frozen treat maker. Now, apparently you freeze fruit and then you push it down here, and essentially it's just a worm, sort of worm grinding shaft in there, and it basically turns your fruit into mush. So you make your own kind of smoothie things. They're really not very complicated, just one electric motor and shove stuff in the top and turn it into slush. So there's probably not much that can go wrong with it. Let's see if it works. I'll plug it into the... hang on, I'll relocate the camera so we get a better view. Okay, that's better. Let's plug it into the appliance tester. And it's already on. Alright, so obviously it works. Yeah, it looks to do what it's supposed to do. I guess that's removable to clean it out. Yep. And there's your little worm crusher, I guess it is. It forces it all through the end and out the little nozzle. So I think that sounds as good as it's supposed to sound. Oh, that comes out there as well. Okay, well, it all looks in reasonable condition. So that tests fine. I think we can just give that a wipe over. I'm only going to ask $5 for it. They were, I think, $30 brand new, and the Ambiano brand is an LD brand, so they're only a cheap appliance. But that one tests okay. We'll put $5 on that. Now, I was going to throw all the Christmas decorations to the free box, but I thought this one's actually not bad. It's got a clamp on the bottom to clamp around your tree branch, I guess, assuming it's like the star on top of your Christmas tree. It's got quite a lot of wire, and it's just a low voltage transformer. So let's plug it in and see if it actually works. And there we go. Not very bright, but we do have some globes in there that are glowing. So I think we could probably try and get $5 for that. We'll see how we go, given that it's a long way until Christmas, but we'll try and get $5 for that. If it sits at $5 for too long, it'll be free anyway. All right, the hairdryer. Now, as mentioned, it's pretty rough. Lots of scrapes and scuffs that aren't going to clean up, but if it sounds all right, we might still get $5 for it. So let's power this one up. Oh, we have two-speed fan. So that's on heat now. That is working. Okay, that actually works fine. So even though it's a bit rough, it's in good operating condition. The cord's okay. I'll clean it up a little bit. I'll be able to get the sticker off here, and we'll just put $5 on it. I guess it would suit someone that was on holidays and left their hairdryer at home. Now the rice cooker, I did manage to straighten the bowl a little bit. You don't know if you're able to see it, you probably will, it's around the top there. So it's a little deformed still. Once aluminium gets a dent in it, it tends to stretch. So I just kind of panel bedded it out very carefully. I actually just used a small round piece of wood with a hammer so that I could just shape it. So that worked okay. Didn't go to any real trouble. The rest of this looks pretty clean otherwise. So we'll test it, and we'll probably only go $5 if it works. $5 is much better than scrap price. Okay, let's power it up. We'll put the earth on there, see if it earths. The light's on. Do we have an earth? Oh yes, it passes that. And it won't start to heat until it pushes down. And yes, that's heating up nicely. And it clicks off. Yep, alright, so that's working fine. I reckon that's worth a quick clean just to get $5. And we did have a spoon with it, didn't we? There we go. Alright, so I've got a little bit of cleaning to do. Not much good value stuff this time. I guess we can leave the book with it too. So it's going to be all low value, but it's $5 here and there is better than nothing. Now this lamp, I decided we were going to scrap because the timber stand's broken and the shade's all squashed in. I'm going to try and get the globe out. I think we have to actually unscrew it. Yeah, it's got one screw in here. Now it's only a 6-volt light assembly. I think it was 6. Maybe it was 12. Yeah, it's 12. Oh, that's just a cover. Okay, we can't really remove the globe as such. It's just a series of LEDs on a little board in there. I'm not going to worry about trying to save those. So what I'm going to do, I did notice that the power supply unplugs, but it is a 12-volt power supply, and I've said in a recent video I've got so many of those it's not funny. So I'm not going to keep that. I just noticed the cord's actually got a break in it there anyway. So it's certainly no good. So we got a little bit of wire for our scrap bins, and the power supply itself and the plug can go into e-waste. And the rest of it, well, we may as well salvage some wire. And I don't really want this switch. A bit more wire for us. And I think that can just go into e-waste as well. Well, a little bit of wire this side, I suppose we might as well salvage it. And we could take this the bolt out and save the wing nut. There's 2 of them. And a bolt and a washer. So we might as well grab the hardware thing so it's easy to get. And there we've even ended up with some firewood. So we'll put that in the kindling box. We've got a small handful of hardware. So I'm just going to send the shade and the old LED light assembly and the base to e-waste. And that gets rid of that lamp. Now, the salt lamp. It's a Himalayan salt lamp. And I did a quick read, and they do get wet for the reason that I thought. They're actually hygroscopic, so they absorb moisture from the atmosphere, and it actually deposits salt crystals when it dries out, but they do naturally just attract moisture out of the air, so you shouldn't really have them near a bathroom or a kitchen. And it's not a problem. Some of the health and wellness websites tell you that it actually absorbs impurities out of the air as well, and one even went as far as to suggest that all this deposit was actually bad stuff that was in the air. Well, in essence, it's only salt. So I would take the advice from some of those websites with a grain of salt. But they do reckon that it's not a problem with them being wet. Obviously, you don't want it to drip or to stain if you've got it on top of a nice sideboard. So you'd perhaps put an absorbent doily there or something. But they do reckon that they should be on most of the time, if not 24/7, because the heat from the lamp will actually evaporate any moisture. So let's plug it in and see if it actually works. It is only a 5-volt supply, I think. There we go. Quite nice. So it needs a little bit of a clean up from those salt crystals at the bottom. But because it's low voltage, you're not really going to have any issues with moisture. you really just don't want to have it, creating drips on a spot that shouldn't get wet. But that'll clean up quite well. I've never had a lot of luck selling them, as I mentioned earlier, but I think if I have that on in the shop all the time and just put, say, $10 on it, it works fine. And if it's on all the time, it shouldn't get too much moisture happening. I did read that it's sometimes described as the rock is crying or weeping, but no, it's just a natural phenomenon. That works fine. I'm going to try and get $10 for that. Okay, moving on, the little VS Sassoon hair straightener, the rechargeable one. I forgot to actually check these online. I think I might start at $10. This one works fine. It even did have some power in it. And I've had it on the charger for a little bit before. I found a little charger pack for it, and it charges up fine, and that should be getting warm already. Yes, it is. So I might as well turn that off. So I'll try and get 10 for that, but it might end up dropping to 5. I think it's probably better than your average cheap and nasty one. Being a wireless one, rechargeable, it might be quite handy in someone's travel kit. So I'll try for 10 on that. Now this big bundle of wire is just a single cord audio cable, quite an old one, and it's even a bit corroded in the terminals. So I don't want to keep this. I can just chop the plug off, and there should be a plug inside somewhere at the other end of the wire, and it can go in our data cable box. Oh, it's a bit hard to get that one out. There we go. So we have a nice bundle of data cable, which I think pays about $4 a kilo now. So that's pretty good. Now, what else do we have? A couple more. Oh, this one. The popcorn maker. Now, it's quite an older one, and I did see some of them bringing pretty good money online, but I read a few reviews about them, and they weren't flattering. People didn't really like them, so I think we'll probably try and sell it. It is missing the little cup fitting that you warm the butter up on, but inside looks nice and clean. And other than just being dirty on the casing and a little scratched, it's not too bad. So let's see if it works. I think they had a fan in them as well. A heater and a fan. There we go. And it's hot straight away, so that obviously works fine. Oh, it's got a safety switch on the lid. I guess that prevents throwing popcorn all around your house. So that tests safe. It's double insulated. It does have a metal case though, I think. Oh no, that's plastic. So there's nowhere to put the earth probe. And that's quite hot. Alright, so that works fine. We'll give him a clean up. And what did I say we'll try? I think we'll just put 5 on it and try and move it on. It is missing the butter cup. Okay, so this little food processor, it's a Black & Decker, wasn't it? Yes. And it only has one fitting. I don't know if it had more, but it only has one with it. And it's just basically for slicing. Now I did think the jug might belong to it, but it doesn't. Because there's nowhere the jug can actually drive from this. So I think the jug was off something different, which I don't have the machine, so that can go to Ewaste. And we'll just make sure this thing works. It is quite an older unit, and I don't expect it's going to get very much. At least it doesn't look damaged. It just needs a bit of a clean. The plug's quite dirty, but it's an older plug. It probably dates back to the 1990s, this one. So let's see if it sounds okay, because that's going to be kind of the critical thing. And of course it has to pass the safety test. All right, on. Oh yeah. That actually sounds pretty good. Except the pulse button isn't working. I'd say that probably just had a bit of a corroded or a little bit of oxidation on the switch. Seems to have come good now. Yeah, probably just purely from not being used. So I reckon that might be handy for someone just for a basic slicing job. It might even have an application outside the kitchen. Someone might want to process some herbs or something. So I'm just going to put $5 on it. Really quick clean. I don't want to waste too much time. We'll just put $5 on that one. And the last thing we have here is this Breville Crazy Scoops. It is an ice cream maker. I worked out how it assembled, and it is all here. That's a churning thing. This is the part you put in your freezer to get super cold. And I did read some reviews on this. A lot of people said, oh, some said it worked well, but a lot of people said it's so time consuming, just go to the shops and buy an ice cream. So I think it's a bit more of a gimmick than anything. It's an older model. I saw a few reviews around for it from about 2010, so it's at least 15 years old. Let's put it together and see, because I think this is supposed to turn somehow, and this part stays still. So we'll put it back together. Like so. That locks down. And we'll power it up. And see if it performs okay. On. There we go. So it just rotates the outer cylinder and the centre part stays still, so it kind of churns it. So that sounds operational. It tests okay. Again, it's all plastic. We don't have an earth to check. So I reckon that's a usable item. Just needs a bit of a clean again. And the lid here goes over this part, which you then take off and put in your freezer. So there's the drive mechanism. Yeah, okay, so I'm not going to put very much on this. I might just go $10 on this. We want to move this stuff on quickly. So a bit of a clean up, we'll go 10 on this. And that ends all our appliances. So I'll do some cleaning. I'll get these out of the road. We have to test that Kirby Vacuum, and then we're done for today. I forgot to give these lights a test, but I don't know. They look like the same sort of lights, but there's no solar panels in here. There's just some bits and pieces. So I think it's been opened, used, and the solar panels weren't put back in. There's some charging cords, but nothing to plug them into. So, and yeah, and there's all the ties, which I'll keep because I use the ties. So all it has is a 240-volt little adapter. So it's just a standard set of Bud lights, basically. So I don't know what's going on here. But anyway, we'll plug them in and see if they work. I think they should. There we go. Not a problem. So what am I going to do with those? I don't know that I really want to string them up around our deck. I think I'll just put them back in this container. We'll leave this label out because it's incorrect. I had all these sheets of paper in here too. I think it was a couple of different sets, and they just put back in here what they didn't use. But there's certainly no solar panels or anything in here, so they can all go in the recycling. This is just going to go straight back into this container as a basic plug-in Bud Light set. And the rest of these plastic fittings will probably have to go in the bin. I don't have a use for those. I will keep these cables though. So there we go. Probably only $5, I think. We'll see how we go with that. I don't want to keep them here. So now it's time to check this Kirby Vacuum. With it, I also have a carpet shampoo system. So it's got a heap of gadgets in here. Actually, that looks like some sort of spray gun. Maybe there's other accessories. There's even a video. Owner's manual on video. Well, that dates it. I think it must be perhaps back to the 80s, early 90s maybe. So, yeah, look, I've seen these things make pretty big money. Well, I mean, they're expensive to buy new. This is obviously quite old. I did find a few of this model on eBay for sale. One was for about 300, one was about just under 200, and I saw one at 150, and none of them have sold. You can still buy bags and other bits and pieces for them. So this has some new bags with it. It also has this little caddy with all your accessories. So I don't think it's worth a lot, even though they were very expensive to buy new. Apparently they're very good, but I'm not even sure this one's working. So I guess we should try and power it up and see if it does work. It's quite dirty in places, so it hasn't been well looked after, and it looks like it's had a new plug fitted, so I don't know how that's happened, and I think they've actually wired it incorrectly. It looks like from the clear socket here, it looks like the active is going to the left hand side. It should go to the right hand side. and there's no earth wire connected. Are they supposed to be an earth? Perhaps not. They might be double insulated, but there's no earth wire connected in that plug. But it still will work with reverse polarity. It's just not the recommended way, and it's not really that safe because it means that your active wire is wired so that there's power in most of the system all the time, and the neutral wire goes to the switch. It's supposed to be the other way around. We probably don't need to take that all off. I just want to see if it goes. I think I will rewire the plug though, because if we're going to sell it, we don't want that wired the wrong way. All right, will it go? I'll get this caddy off the bench so I've got some room. All right, let's plug it into the appliance tester. Now there's something taped up here. Hang on, this looks a bit dodgy. All right, let's get you a closer look at this. All right, we have some home handyman electrical tape around here. I don't know what's going on. I can see wires. So the cord's been damaged. Is this just a holder? Maybe it's just taped to hold it up out of the road. But the cord's certainly been damaged. Let's get that out of the clip. All right, so I cannot pass it as safe with this sort of work done on it. I'm just going to unwrap this and see what's happened, whether the cord's been cut and they've joined it. Not sure, just let me unwrap this tape first. Okay, someone has joined this just by hand twitching the wires, and that one was just hanging there. It was really just a tape holding it together. That's the active wire. So it's been, well, I don't know how that happened right back near the machine. Perhaps it was ran over and they put a big gouge in the wire and someone took it upon themselves to cut the bad bit out and just join the two together. I'm guessing the neutral wire is the same. Let's unwrap this. Okay, yes, that was the same. I took the tape off and it just fell apart. So how's that? How do people think it's okay to donate something like this to the charity shop when that's been taped up by some handyman just with electrical tape and twitched together with fingers not even very well? And the whole thing with the vacuum, you know, when you're vacuuming a room and you run out of cord, it gives a bit of a tug. These would have slipped straight out of the insulation, pretty much out of that tape. You'd have bare live wires just hanging there. Not safe at all. Certainly pretty irresponsible, I think, for people to donate this to a charity shop like that. What am I going to do? Well, I'd have to put a new cord on it to have it going, even to test it. I mean, I could certainly just temporarily connect these and see if the thing actually runs. It may have other faults. Maybe I'll just advertise it for $20 on Facebook for parts, and if someone's got one, they may well use it. I mean, they're going to get new bags with it. This bag looks okay. I think that's probably the best way. I don't have time to try and fit a new cord because it goes into a molded section on the machine, and I don't want to sell it with a join in it, even if I've done it properly. So, and remember, of course, that whoever did the work on it wired the pins the wrong way. So I'm going to advertise this as in not working, the cord has been cut, maybe handy for parts, and maybe just put $20 on it. If someone's got the same model, I think they'll see some value. Otherwise, if I don't get any takers, well, maybe we'll scrap it out. There's a lot of cast aluminium. There's going to be a decent sized electric motor. I will check eBay to see if any second-hand parts are going to be of value for anyone on eBay, although I'm not really eBaying much at the moment with so much going on. But yeah, I thought we might be able to flip this pretty quickly for $50, but that was only if it was going, and clearly it's not. It's the next morning now, bright and early, and it's time to have a look at our spoils from this week's collection. As you can see, the vacuum is a fair part of it, and hopefully we can find someone that wants to use the accessories and bits and pieces. So I'll be trying that on Facebook Marketplace. Should be able to find someone, surely. Here's the electrical stuff. Now, as you can see, that hairdryer really cleaned up well. So gave it a bit of a scrub down. A lot of the scratches weren't actually scratches. They were just marks of some sort of white paint that had rubbed against. So they cleaned up fairly well. I'm sure we'll be able to get our $5 for that. All the other appliances cleaned up really well, actually. It doesn't take long to give them a clean, and it's a good chance for me to sit at my bench in the shed and catch up on some other YouTubers' videos while I'm cleaning. So everything's ready to go. The salt lamp, I noticed, did have a little bit of a puddle of water here this morning. You can see that the desk is wet, but that's been sitting out here overnight, so it does certainly absorb moisture out of the atmosphere. I'll plug that in at the shop and it should stay warm and stay dry. Up on the other bench here, we have some other bits and pieces. I'm going to sell those Bud Lights. There's our items to flip, although the pewter item will be melted down eventually. We have a little bit of timber to burn, some cords. I will reuse this plug that I chopped off the vacuum. A few little bits of hardware on these ties that I use. There's our pile of cord. So I did chop the rest of the cord. Well, the cord was already chopped, as you saw, from the vacuum. That can all go in my electric wire bins. And very little this week going to e-waste. So pretty successful. And the batteries in there will go to recycling. So pretty successful little adventure this week. Not very much wasted. A few things to sell, not a lot of value. And I was happy to get these little battery terminals with the springs because I have to repair a metal detector soon and they will be handy. Alright, let's go and have a look at the notepad. And here's what the list looks like for this week. We have a lot of $5 items, so a lot of cheaper items. I didn't adjust any prices, I don't think. But what I did do was I did temporarily wire a cord onto the Kirby Vacuum just to make sure it runs, and it does run. It sounds okay, so it's probably a good fix-up for someone, but I don't have the time to do it. If I can get $20 for it as it is, I'll be happy. I will show people that it runs, but I won't leave the cord on that I've temporarily attached. They will have to sort that out for themselves. And so, yeah, $85 from pretty well just low-value junk, but we can keep it all in circulation. It's all in good working condition, except for the vacuum. The Bedigo pottery and the German vase, I thought I'd try 20 on the German vase, so we might flip our, what did we spend? 5 and 1. So we might flip $6 into 40. That would be pretty good. And if we get close to 85 out of that list, I'll be very happy. Let's have a look at the previous week. I'm almost ready to rule off. We have the Sensi wax warmer. Someone did ask me to put it aside and they didn't turn up. Both the Ryobi chargers have gone now. That retro iron dryer combo is in the shop, so I'm not going to discount that. That's fine. The mini laptop I put aside to eBay, and I'm not doing much eBay at the moment, so that won't sell at the moment. The Holden bag, Graham mentioned I didn't include it in the list. Well, maybe he was expecting to see it down here. It hasn't sold, but pretty well all the other electrical stuff has gone, and no takers on the Qantas bag as yet. But yeah, I think if we sell 1 or 2 more items out of that list, because I'm keeping a couple for later, I can pretty much rule it off. As with the previous week, we only have the heater left. Everything else is gone, and the nights are starting to get chilly now, so I would expect that heater to sell pretty quickly. So that will finish that off completely if that goes. And we don't really need to go back any further because everything's ruled off. The only thing we had left on part 14 was the nebulizer, which has now sold anyway. So that means everything out of that, oops, we went out of focus. Everything there has gone, and the electric items out of that next week went as well. So there we go. Looking good in this series. We're not having anything hang around to annoy us. It is really satisfying finding new homes for things. People are happy they've got a bargain. I'm happy that they're not being thrown out. Very, very few items actually make it to the free wheelbarrow where I put stuff that's been here for too long. So we actually are generating a bit of money. Some of the items, as you've seen, take me quite a long time to clean up, and I only get $5 for them. So not such good value for my time. But other items I can flip pretty quickly without any real work, and every now and again we get a really good one that brings me a pretty good return. So overall, it's not a bad economic thing for me to do. I look back on my video, because remember I make a bit of money out of these videos, of course, and I look back over the last few weeks and the earlier episodes, and I've been making between $20 and $30 per video just from YouTube revenue. And of course, the more people watch them, that's an ongoing, few cents here, a dollar there, and gradually it all helps my bottom line. And ultimately, I do need to make an income, but I'm not really looking to sell things to make a huge profit. It's more about saving it from going to landfill, or at least into the waste stream. And if I can make some good dollars out of it and perhaps show you guys how you don't have to throw everything out, then it's a win all round. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll be doing this again next week. I also have my unboxing series from the emergency storage shed, which is generating me some good income, and it hasn't cost me anything because I've owned most of this stuff for many, many years. So we're doing all right there too. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.